and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. Hello to Chris Roberts. It is so nice to have you here with us today. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show is fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. We've got a phenomenal guest who's joining us again today. I just love having her on the show. And we've got a dynamic, powerful, amazing woman who is my co-host. Every time I see her, she's somewhere else. I cannot keep up with her. She has had this incredible book launch, #1 new release on Amazon, and I'm just glad she's able to make time for us today. Let's welcome Diann Floyd Boehm. Hi, Diann.
Hi, from Virginia right now.
Well, as the expression goes, you really do get around, don't you?
Oh, I do, baby doll.
So what brings you to Virginia?
Family, gonna visit some family. You know what happens, the kids grow up and they fly the coop, and then we have to fly to see them.
So what's one of your favorite things about going to Virginia?
Oh my goodness, the history. I love Virginia. The history is so phenomenal. Family, of course, too, but the history. I wish every American could come to Virginia, and actually all the colonial, states. It's amazing. You'd be so proud of how far we've come and how far we have to go, but just what people did to make this great nation is just, it makes you so grateful.
There's so much history there, that's for sure. Do you get an opportunity to go into our nation's capital, Washington, D.C.?
I've been many times, especially since I have lived in D.C. and my husband was a former diplomat. But yesterday we went to Mount Vernon, so that was pretty special.
Very nice. Thank you, Diann. I'd love to spotlight you right now and just share with our viewers as well as our listeners about your phenomenal book and your work as an international award-winning children's book author.
You're so kind. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. I love Fridays, and I'm sure you do too. So, yes, I had my pre-launch to Rise. And I'm very excited about it. Rise, a Girl's Struggle for More, which is based on my grandma Ruby's a snippet of her life. I hope you'll find it very inspirational. And the actual launch is October 20th, and I'll have a live with my publisher. So just check out my website for more information, or on Facebook. And I just can't even begin to tell you how exciting the pre-launch was in Drumright, which is one of the places that the story takes place in. And the museum, Drumright Historical Society Museum, hosted a pre-launch, and the people there were just overwhelmingly just welcoming. It was just so exciting, and it was more than I could have ever imagined. And then Tammy Posey, who was the curator at the time when I first started 6 years ago to write this book, and has helped me along the way. She spent 2 days showing me around Drumright, which is the boom town for the oil industry in Oklahoma, and played a massive role in our history in the oil industry. So to be able to see it through her eyes, as a historian, and see the actual places that everything took place, and some places that I'd never seen before, but I heard my grandmother speak of, and actually be on that soil was very exciting. To be an international author, to answer your other question, is more than I could have ever dreamed of. I think living overseas obviously assisted me in that. But the people who continue to purchase my books, my children's books, and now this is my first young adult book, have been so gracious and kind and send loving messages. And I just truly appreciate it. And I just hope it continues to grow.
And of course, it's going to, Diann, because you put all this light and love into the world. I also want to thank you publicly for your generosity for the Crohn's Colitis Foundation for our recent Evening of Hope Gala. And you donated a package which was sold, and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope that one day everyone will never have to suffer from that. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Michael, as well. We have a fabulous guest we are welcoming back. She is a regular on our show. I'm so happy that she's here because she is not sitting idle either. Like you, she is traveling around. She is making things happen. And she has so much to share with us. So let us welcome back Sandy Adams, travel advisor. And she is with Cruise Planners. Hello, Sandy.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi. So good to see you.
Good to see you and Diane. We're practically neighbors right now.
I know.
You're just down the road.
Amazing.
Are you guys going to get together?
We're going to try.
We're going to try.
I love that. You have to take pictures and maybe we'll do some live broadcasts from there. That would be nice.
How fun would that be?
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Sandy, although you are a frequent guest, for people who have not met you before, who are watching or listening, could you please give an overview of exactly what it is you do as a travel advisor and at Cruise Planners?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Sandy Adams, and I am a travel advisor. My business is Cruise Planners. However, I do both land and sea vacations. Want a quick weekend getaway? Want to go for a week? Want to do a world cruise? I can do all of that. And what I do with my clients is that I work with them from the beginning of the conception of their trip all the way until they return. Any questions that they have along the way, when they dial my phone number, they get me, not a call center. They're not waiting on the phone for hours on end. I do everything I can to make my clients have an amazing vacation and take all the work out of it, all the stress out of it, so that they could just pack their bags and be on their way. I love what I do, and I'm looking forward to sharing some really fun things with you today.
And Sandy, you've got this really very well-known branding on your arm, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that.
So Cruise Planners is an American Express travel representative, which means we are able to offer to our clients all the things that being an American Express card holder, all the amenities that come with that. So for example, they have a cruise privilege program, which means that if you book with certain cruise lines, you get some additional amenities because of your affiliation with American Express. They also have their Fine Hotels program. We're able to tap into that for our clients. We're able to do pay with points and provide all the other amenities that American Express card holders expect because they have that card.
That's so good to know. You're getting the whole package there with Sandy Adams. It's a full service package. And also, if you are an American Express card holder, especially Platinum card holder, you do expect certain levels of service, and Sandy can provide them to you.
Absolutely.
I love how you accept points too. That's great.
Yeah, and again, that just goes back to the importance of our partnership with American Express, because we're able to do that, whereas travel advisors or travel agencies that don't have that affiliation with American Express, they're not able to offer those things to their clients.
That's a key differentiator for sure. So, Sandy, tell us, where in the world have you been since we last saw you?
Well, I spent 5 amazing days in Cancun.
Oh.
We had our Cruise Planners convention, first time that we've been able to get together in 2 years, and it was a great event. We had speakers from throughout the travel industry. Sandals came and spoke to us. CIE, Celtic, Kensington, all the big land tour providers were there and shared their wisdom, shared their optimism for what's coming in the future. We also had senior representatives of all the cruise lines, again, sharing their optimism, their launching of new ships, There's all kinds of really great things that are going on in the travel industry, and many of the hotels and resorts have actually taken this time of our pause to really improve their offerings, do renovations. Sandals is going to be opening 4 new resorts in the next year. The next one that'll be opening is in Curacao, and I have seen pictures of it, and it's absolutely amazing. That's just some of the things that are going on. Lots of new ships. I think that there are 25 new ships that are going to be launched within the next 4 or 5 years, across the spectrum. So just the optimism that these industry leaders shared with us was so wonderful, because those are the things I'm trying to convey to my clients. Now is the time to look at that travel and, get the marker on the table for that next great trip. I just worked with a client of mine, and she was just excited that we just booked her a Rocky Mountaineer, which is the previous trip I was on. We just booked her a rail journey, and she said, "I'm just so excited that I have a trip on the calendar." So that's really, for a lot of people, what it's all about. They might not be ready to travel right now, but just having that on the calendar and having something to look forward to. And my job is to make all of that seamless for them. All they have to do is tell me where they want to go, and I just take care of the rest.
Thank you, Sandy. That's so exciting. And I know we talked about this before, but for first-time watchers and listeners, what about getting travel insurance when you're booking far ahead? Is this something that's important that people should consider?
I absolutely recommend travel insurance because life happens. And, a vacation is an investment, and you want to protect that investment, and you want to protect yourself. So I strongly recommend to all my clients, and so to all our listeners, whether you're booking with me or booking on your own, please get travel insurance. I'll also mention that many countries due to COVID are requiring travel insurance. So if you don't get your own travel insurance, then you're buying travel insurance, from that particular country, because it's a requirement, because they want to make sure that you're covered, in case, you catch COVID while you're visiting them. But I recommend, as I said, the travel insurance, because life happens, and it's not just to you. Things happen, with families and things like that. And you just need to be protecting that investment.
Solid, great advice. We do have a comment, and it's from our dear friend, Mr. Hyatt Ives. Good morning, ladies. Hello to you, Hyatt. It's nice to hear from you.
Hi, Hyatt.
Hello. I just want to say I really do believe in travel insurance. People might think, oh, I don't want to do that extra expense. But as you pointed out so well, Sandy, life does happen. And my husband and I, we had this glorious trip planned to the Holy Land, and we were going to spend all this amazing time over there and then go to Jordan. And something happened back home, and we needed to just drop everything and fly home. And we were very grateful for the travel insurance, for sure. So
absolutely.
And it's not that expensive, right?
No, it's not.
It's not based on what you're doing and what your potential costs are, because Diane, the same thing happened to my husband and I. We were on our trip for our 25th anniversary, and we had a family emergency, and we needed to come home right away. And we actually had to pay $1,500 a person. Wow. To be able to fly home, that day, above what we had already paid in our plane ticket. And of course, our cruise was at that point non-refundable. And, within a few weeks after we sent them the documentation, we received full reimbursement for all of our out-of-pocket expenses. So it's just something that I think is really important, and it just takes the pressure off. That's just one less thing to worry about.
Absolutely. And I would love for you to share with our new listeners how you are there for them if something comes up, that you help take care of them. You don't just say, okay, here's your tickets, goodbye, I'll see you, have a great time.
So one of the things that I do is I always check with them a couple of times before they leave, make sure that they're clear on everything that they need to do, particularly in this time of COVID. I'm all the way up until when they're traveling, I am checking the requirements because, over time they have changed rather rapidly. So I keep tabs on that. And then they have my phone number and they can reach out to me, if something happens. And so I'll give one example. I had clients who were flying home and their flight was canceled. We were able to get them moved to another flight. And then they ended up in a city and they needed a hotel for overnight. And so I helped facilitate that. One other one was I had a couple who had been waiting to go on this vacation for a year and a half. They had their COVID tests, all the things done. Those are very time sensitive, as many of you know. Countries require them within 48 hours of travel or 72 hours of travel. So they go to the airport and there is a flight delay due to mechanical reasons. And they ended up not being able to leave on time, which meant that they were going to miss their connection. And so by missing their connection, they weren't going to be able to get to their destination until the next day. And they were in a panic because their COVID test was going to expire. So I said, don't worry about it. Let me check into it. And, I made a couple of calls, checked on a couple of things, and, found out that there was a grace period, since it wasn't, it was something that they did. And all we had to do was send them a screenshot of the flight being canceled, and they were granted a waiver. We got them a hotel in Miami overnight, and they got on the plane the next day and headed off on their trip.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, that's incredible. Such a good feeling to hear that. And we've got another comment from Hyatt Ives. It's been too long since we last traveled. Looking forward to returning to wherever Linda wants to go. Okay, we have witnesses now. Wherever Linda wants to go. Hyatt, we're calling you out on that.
I'll help her.
Yes, please give Sandy a call. Her number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, as well as her email address. Okay, Sandy, I know you have so much information to provide for us today, so I'm going to spotlight you and let's get right to it.
Okay, this is late breaking news, just came out today, so many of you may have already heard it, but the U.S. is going to be opening to foreign travelers, which on the 8th of November, and that is going to be such a huge boost for our hospitality industry here in the U.S. And it also takes a lot of pressure off the fact that so many countries had already opened to the U.S., and the U.S. has been rather slow in doing that. So vaccinated travelers will be able to come to the United States. In terms of U.S. Citizens being able to travel, well over 100 countries are open to U.S. travelers, but many of them have caveats. They either require a test, be it a PCR test or an antigen test, and many countries are also requiring vaccination. And so it's important if you are not using a travel advisor, which I highly recommend, but if you're not, make sure that you are checking the requirements for the countries that you are choosing to visit. Another change that will be coming in November is the requirements for returning back to the US as an American citizen. So since January, a test has been required for all travelers, all American travelers returning to the United States. Starting in November, and no date has been announced for this yet. But starting in November, it looks like vaccinated travelers, U.S. citizens who are vaccinated, will be able to get a test within 3 days of their flying back to the U.S. However, American citizens that are not vaccinated, it will be 24 hours prior to traveling back to the U.S. So it's looking that vaccinated travelers will have 72 hours and unvaccinated will have 24. So if you are going to be traveling over the next month or so, that's something that you need to make sure that you're keeping tabs on in terms of returning here to the U.S.
Sandy, quick question.
Sure.
Is this a situation where one should, this might sound ridiculous, but purchase a COVID test to take with you, or is it each country they have something that, how does that work?
So each country has different requirements. Some countries, I'll use Barbados as an example because I have clients there right now. They very specifically did not allow a COVID test that was not done by a health provider. So many of the places here in the US where you go, I don't want to call out store names, but very common places, you are observed while you're the one that is doing the swab. And that test is not allowed in Barbados. It has to be, actually, the swab has to be taken by a healthcare provider. So that's why looking at the requirements are so important. In terms of returning to the U.S., again, I think we need to wait to see what the CDC requirements are, what they will be, what the new requirements will be. But my understanding of the requirements today are, again, they need to be done by a healthcare provider. And I will tell you that many of the resorts in the Caribbean are offering them complimentary, depending on the length of your stay, or at a moderate cost. The cruise lines are also, if they're not offering them complimentary, they are offering them at a reduced cost. So all of the travel industry is focused on making traveling as healthy and as safe as possible.
Great.
All great tips. I just want to stress to people, whether they're watching or listening live or on the replay, if you are going to build a house, I mean, maybe you have some level of expertise, you could go down to a big box store and you could get all of the different construction materials that you might need. But if you're not a builder, you don't have that kind of background, you're probably going to hire someone. If you're not an expert in the travel industry, you really need to work with somebody like Sandy, who has all of this incredible knowledge at her fingertips. It comes to her easily because she is in the loop. She is with American Express on their, what's the program, Sandy?
We are an American Express travel representative.
Thank you. Okay. I just wanted to throw that out there because all these things that you're sharing, these are gems. These are gold nuggets that people wouldn't know otherwise. So they need to reach out to you.
Absolutely. And I'm happy to help them. So I have more.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that surprise you?
Okay.
Let's hear it.
So as many people are probably aware, cruise lines have been under a conditional sail order. You know, originally when COVID happened, there was the no sail order, and then it eventually evolved into the conditional sail order. And that is due to expire 1 November of 2021. the cruise lines have all been required to do a variety of things to ensure the safety. They have worked in partnership with health agencies worldwide, as well as with the CDC. So here's the latest on what's coming down the pike with the conditional sale order. I was on a call the other day with Michael Bailey, who's the president and CEO of Royal Caribbean. And he said that the cruise lines have been engaged with the CDC on how we move forward, as well as other health agencies. He said that that he believes that the success that the cruise lines have had to date is because of their collaboration with the CDC and other health agencies, and that the CDC has largely been supportive of all of the measures and all of the measures that the cruise lines have taken to be able to, have healthy and safe cruises. I have no window into what the CDC will announce. And so we'll have to stay tuned for that. And I expect to hear more about that towards the end of the month. But that's coming soon. The other thing I want to hit home for people is that 2022 is going to be the year of travel, because people have not been able to travel for the last 2 years. And so if you are even thinking about it, please get your passport, look at your passport, and if it's due to expire in 22 or even 23, get it renewed. Because the requirement for most countries is that your passport needs to be valid for 6 months after the end of your travel. So, for instance, if you are traveling to pick a country and will be returning on December 31st of 2021, then your passport needs to be good until 1 July of 2022. So that's very important. There's still quite a backup of passport approval. It's taking anywhere from 12 to 18 weeks to get a passport. So plan ahead. That is my number one advice. Plan ahead.
Sandy, I really appreciate that. When I saw you last, I went and looked. I couldn't find my passport. Then I found it and I thought, oh, it's still good. Plus, I have the extra 6 months. And I also checked out the global entry to see if that was still valid. So, really important tips.
Absolutely. And I love global entry. For people who aren't aware of what global entry is, could you explain that?
Absolutely. So, global entry, when you return from an overseas trip, allows you to go through an expedited process. And actually, this last trip that I just went on, we're global entry members, and they've even changed the process to make it easier. They pretty much you stick your passport in, they take your picture, you get a ticket, you walk around and you hand it to the immigration guy. He looks at it, or gal looks at it, and off you go to get your bags. The way that you apply for it is online. You put in an application. Once that is submitted, they do background checks. You'll have to give fingerprints, and you'll have to go through an interview. And that's good for 5 years. What it also gives you is TSA pre-check. So again, you're getting to go through the fast lines for things. And when we were traveling to Mexico, we got really scared because we were having to, when we came off one flight and we came up the stairs, we were being directed to one line that there must have been 300 people in. And she really wasn't, the woman who was doing the directing didn't say pre-check is over here. And so we get into the one line, and I said, you know what, this can't be right. And I, told my husband, my sister to stay there. And I went, did a little reconnaissance, and I found that the pre-check line was the opposite direction. So we jumped out of that line, went and got in pre-check, and we got right through. And, no stress, no worry. And that's what I'm all about when it comes to travel.
That's fantastic.
It is, Sandy. That actually happened to me as well. I forget what country I was in. They're like, oh, this way, this way. I'm thinking the line is going here and there and here. And I got in the line. And then finally I said, this can't be right. And of course it was the other end and there was no line. So
yes.
And
so you're like, yeah, what a great thing. Something else I want to mention is, for me, when I went down to the airport, I think it was Philadelphia that I went to, and I had the interview, and then they take your fingerprints. I actually felt pretty good knowing I was in the system as a known traveler. Like if I ever was missing or something, like now people could find me, identify me, because of my fingerprints. So you're known.
Absolutely. And let me clarify something, because the experience that I just had with getting into the wrong line, that was when we were returning from Mexico, because the pre-check doesn't work in other countries. So I don't want to give, our viewers and listeners the idea that you can use pre-check in other countries. That isn't the case. So that was on our return trip. And when we were changing planes, we were put into the 300-person line and realized that pre-check was the other way.
I'm glad.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know about you guys, but I have zero patience when it comes to lines. My husband's like, calm down. I'm like, I just hate lines.
I'm the same way.
I don't like lines either, but I realized, as I mentioned before, I was going through some pictures on my phone. I haven't been abroad since 2018. So that's not that long ago, but it seems like it was 10 years ago. Yeah. It really does. It does.
Well, we'll have to do something about that.
I'm working on it. In my mind, I'm coming up with a plan, and then I'll reach out to you, because as I mentioned before, and Diane, we talked about this, I really want to go to London. I want to go to the UK. I've met so many amazing people. I want to go over to Mallorca, and I want to go to Athens. So just a matter of getting some things straight now first.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you could do those, a couple of your shows that focus on Britain. You could actually do them live from there.
That's
Definitely.
right.
I would meet with some of the co-hosts over there and do it. And then one of my co-hosts, Roland Friedel, he's on Mallorca. So it would all work out. It would be great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We could just take the channel over to France and speak to some of the designers that have been on our show.
I mean, I know you have friends all over the world, Diane. So.
Well, Diane, I think you and I could go with her.
I think so too.
It would be a very interesting trip. It would be exciting. So we're putting it out there. I'll get these things straightened out and we'll make it happen.
So
all right, there's more.
Now for holidays and everything. Any recommendations?
Well, if you are looking to go here in the U.S., lots of different opportunities. There's skiing. There's visiting out west. Of course, there's Florida. If you're from a northern place and you want to get a little warmth, there's Florida. There's Arizona. So lots of opportunities there. If you're looking to get out of the country for a while, there's the Bahamas. There's the Caribbean. There's Mexico. There's still space available in those areas for travelers. So there is even space available on some cruise ships. So if you're looking to get on a cruise, there's plenty of opportunity to do that. And what's really great is several of the cruise lines are offering 3, 4, and 5 day cruises.
Wow.
So they don't have to be a week. And so there's plenty of opportunity if you're ready to travel. I did want to mention, some of the things that seem to be hot for 2022 is rail journeys. Certainly Hawaii, Europe, people are feeling more comfortable about that. Both ocean and river cruises are really hot. I think that within cruise planners, one of the statistics that was mentioned at our convention, that so far we're about 30% ahead of where we were in 2019 in booking river cruises. So that area is really taking off. And what's super hot, even though it's cool, is Alaska. And, this year we were able to do a little bit of Alaska via cruise ship. But there were no cruise tours involved in that. Cruise tours meaning the land portion. A lot of people, when they cruise to Alaska, they do a one-way cruise, and either before or after the cruise, they will do a land tour, which includes a visit to Denali, Anchorage, Fairbanks, and several other places, depending on the size of their package. It is really hard to find spots for Alaska right now because so many of the trips have moved over from the last 2 years. So it's really hot. So if you're thinking about Alaska, please get in touch with me, and let's see if we can get you booked on that. I did have some clients that cruised a couple of months ago, and they just raved about Alaska. They absolutely loved it.
I love Alaska.
And you don't need a passport.
And you don't need a passport.
You don't need a passport. Sandy, question I have for you in all seriousness about London. I'm really wanting to go there. What's a good time to go? Is it in April, May?
I really like April and May timeframe because I don't know if I've shared this, but I go there a lot. Pre-pandemic, I was going about twice a year because I have friends there. I had lived in the UK early in my Air Force career, and I have friends that live in central London, pretty much across from where the Parliament is. And so I'll go a couple of times a year. April and May, there is so much going on. The flowers are blooming. The temperature is sometimes a little on the cool side, but you get to see so many things because the Queen's birthday is in June. And so in May, they are practicing the Trooping of the Colors. And so I have gotten videos over several years, because I go around the same time all the time, videos of those practices. And it's just so cool, to see all these different regiments, marching along and listening to the music. So it's a great time to go. And next year is a big year for the Queen. So it is her 60, how long has she been on the throne now? 70 years, I think.
I think
it's 70 years. So next year is a big year. So if you're thinking about going for any of those events, you better book it now, because London is going to sell out over that.
Yeah, hotels will be filling up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break because I didn't take one, but I think it's really apropos because of what you were talking about, Sandy. We're going to watch a clip, and this is from Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Shard over in the UK, and the name of it is the Royal Artillery in Holcombe Beach. So we'll just watch this, and we'll be right back. That was pretty amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to know what kind of supplements those horses are taking with that beautiful hair, beautiful sheen, beautiful fur. It's amazing. So, yeah, so I think we need to start planning. And I think that's, you brought up a lot of good information. And again, Sandy knows what's taking place. And so you have to start booking. So, what would you say the lead time is, Sandy, for people needing, wanting to make reservations for London? Book now, wait till next month?
I would say, depending on when, if they're looking to travel in the next 6 months, I would go ahead and do it now. Absolutely.
And get that travel insurance as well.
Absolutely.
All right. I know you have other information for us, right? Is there anything
Well,
more?
I just wanted to kind of give everyone a update on my travel. We talked about the previous trip I did, and my sister and I have some opportunities in the next few weeks, and we are heading to Europe to do a couple of cruises. And I will be showcasing what we're doing on my Facebook page. I'll be doing some Facebook Lives, and I'm very excited to share with people these experiences because I think that the more I'm able to share with people, the more comfortable they'll feel about traveling. So I'm really looking forward to the experience of flying to Europe. And we're getting prepared for all of that. And I look forward to sharing it with everyone. So it's really exciting, very short notice. And I've never like just picked up and let's go, but that's what we're doing. So it's going to be really a lot of fun.
How exciting.
Good for you. That sounds special.
So, well, I look forward to sharing it with you guys. So there'll be lots of pictures and things.
We'll be
We
watching.
look forward to it as well. And by the way, I just want to add, I was trying to figure out where I stayed in the London area. I stayed at the Dorchester, but we stayed somewhere in the countryside, and I couldn't think of what it was. I just wonder if you've ever been. It's called Coworth Park. It's a Dorchester, Cowworth, and it's outside of Windsor. I think it was like a 25-minute drive or something, but they have horses and stay. It was absolutely magnificent. So I believe it's part of the Dorchester collection, whoever owns them.
Okay. That sounds wonderful.
Yes, definitely nice. Well, it's been a pleasure having you back, and we'll look forward to more updates. We do love to hear from you, and also happy birthday to your lovely husband. We wish him the best.
I will tell him that. Thank you so much. And I hope that you guys have a fabulous weekend. And thank you so much for having me. And let's travel, everyone.
Woo! Woo! All right, let's do it. Thanks again, Sandy. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. She's got so much content plus so many good tips that it would be foolish for people not to work with her.
She is totally amazing. I learn something every single time she's on our show. Seriously, I do
too. I do too. And I really am excited about putting a trip together and booking it through her once I get these things situated.
But also, I liked how, in case people missed it, don't just think about that global entry for traveling overseas. It's worth it in case all of a sudden you find out you can go. But the fact that you get that fast pass in the States as well makes it worth having it no matter what.
It's so true. It saves so much time.
Yeah, so much time. And I also liked how she brought up Alaska. We didn't get to talk about it very much, but Alaska is just an incredible state. There's so much beauty, not just in the cities, but nature is unbelievable. But also at Christmas time, they have a town called Christmas Town. And I was going to ask Sandy if she had been there. Maybe next time we can ask her. But Christmas Town, if you can get to Alaska and go to it, oh my stars, you will feel like you are at the North Pole.
Now, is that something that is up all year?
They decorate it even more, yes, because it is called Christmas Town. But to see it at the Christmas season is phenomenal.
So the town is actually Christmas Town. It's interesting because here in New Jersey, where I am, there are one or two places that are open year round that only sell Christmas ornaments and Christmas decorations, which I think is interesting.
I love it. Okay, I'm going. I'm all about that.
We have that nearby, and we have Cowtown nearby. This is off the island, of course, where they have the
towns. Absolutely. Did I tell you? I have it in my newsletter, but I'll share with you. I'm driving down the road, heading towards Houston. I always love looking at the cows. We have lots of cows, and all of a sudden, I thought, I'm not in Texas anymore. I'm like, what is going on? And I look and I'm like, I have to turn around. What has just happened to my world? I turn, I make this U-turn, and then I park and I stare, and it's zebras.
What? In Texas?
Instead of cows. And I'm like, seriously? And I started filming it. And so I had to put it in my newsletter because I'm like, I can't believe it. But I'll have to find out more about this new ranch that's opening up, but it's going to be a ranch of zebras.
That's incredible. Are you sure they weren't cows dressed up for Halloween?
Maybe so.
That is funny. My mom and I went on an Alaskan cruise, and this was through work. It was something that I earned. And the standout for me is that the weather was really bad. The seas were, it was a lot of, what's the word? Rocking and rolling, yes. And I might have shared this before, but they were actually passing out the bags for people to use if you got sick. So my mom and I went to the top of the ship where they had the disco, or they had music playing, and we were the only people there. And I remember I had on these like designer sneakers, and we were so I wouldn't fall. We were dancing. The ship's going this way and that way. My mom was over here and I was over there. We didn't care. We were dancing all around, and then all of a sudden it stopped, and people came back, and we looked very foolish. So
I love it. You made the most of it. Oh my God.
We did. So Diane, what do you have in store coming up so that people can, and by the way, let people know how to subscribe to your newsletter, let people know how to find your books and stay in touch with you.
Okay, great. Well, again, happy Friday, everyone. I hope you have a blessed weekend. You can reach me at diannfloydboehm.com. Let me spell it. DIANN FLOYD B as in boy OEH M as in Mary.com. And once you go to my website, it'll ask you to join the newsletter, and you just say yes, and off you go. And you'll also find out if you're part of my newsletter how to be part of Shine. It gives you an opportunity to be published for free with your photography, or if you have a funny joke. Everything has to be clean, of course. And so that's one way that I give back, is an opportunity for people to be published. What do I have on the horizon? Again, the closest thing is on October 20th, which is my grandmother's birthday, to celebrate the release on Amazon of Rise, A Girl's Struggle for More. And so you can get it, and it's actually, copies are no longer, the pre-launch copies will be sent out, and off we go, and hopefully it'll become a great success. And I want it to be a movie to help all the people in these small towns. So
that would be fantastic. Diane, do you have plans for it to be a movie?
No, but I'm putting it out there to the universe for people. It's definitely a hallmark. It's a sweet story.
It's a great story. I had the wonderful privilege of having an advanced copy, so thank you for that. And I have ordered my my copy. Amazon says its order was received, whatever day it was that you put that out there. So everybody go over to Amazon and place your order for Rise, A Girl's Struggle for More, as well as Diane's other books.
Thank you so much. And when you
win
next week, I'll talk about a new book that'll be coming out. So wait on.
All right. Keep inspiring, keep leading, and have a wonderful time when you're there in Virginia.
Thanks. I will. You have a great weekend. Thanks, sir. See you soon.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye. I say this all the time, but I absolutely love what I do. It's just such an honor to be able to have people like Diane and Sandy on the program, sharing their time, sharing their insights, sharing their knowledge and their expertise. And thank you to all of you who watch us, whether you're live watching or listening on Business Talk Radio or watching on the replay. It's all good. I appreciate all of it. So as we close out for today, for this show, I'll just let you know that we have 2 more shows coming up, presenting Pet Psychic Amina and Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And I'm going to close out the show with another clip that is from Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Shard. It's called the Earthshot Prize. And I feel like it's so relevant when we think about what's going on in this world, how much waste there is, how much we need to lift each other up, protect our planet, protect our communities. So let's take a look. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you.
Ours is a world of wonder. Every day it reminds us of its beauty. It touches us, teaches us, and astounds us. But it also warns us that what we throw away does not go away. That higher temperatures mean a lot more than longer summers. That we can no longer take life as we know it for granted. We are at a unique stage in our history. Never before have we had such an awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about that. We face